It's sort of weird because we definitely don't have like a console war anymore. It's and listen, I think that that's in some ways okay, but I also think that there's a lot of reasons why it's not okay. And I think one of the biggest reasons as to why that it's not okay is the simple fact that you don't have that competition. You don't have those companies kind of striving to one up each other and do things like that. So that's sort of unfortunate that we have something like that happening. I do hope that we get something in the future that realistically drives people to more competition and things like that. But obviously I think the way that things are going, Microsoft is pretty stuck in their ways, and they aren't going to really kind of go out there and try to change things too much. But again, like, you can never really put it past that something's going to happen. Now, what's interesting is people kind of look at Xbox and they go, okay, well, where did they really start to fail and things like that. And I think that one of the places that they kind of really started to fail was with the Xbox One, with that whole bungled announcement and things like that. People still kind of point to that, and I think one of the biggest things that really hurt them was that whole "this is how you share a game" thing. You guys remember, it was like Yoshida and Adam Boyes were kind of talking about that, and they were like, "Here's how you share a game," and they just handed him a PS4 game in a box, right? Because you guys have to remember, at that time Microsoft was talking about you couldn't share your used games, and not only could you not share your used games, but you weren't going to be able to buy used games, and it was this whole big thing. And now it's funny because like the Xbox fans really hype up Game Pass, and there's no way to share any of that. It's always online DRM, all the stuff that Microsoft wanted, they ended up getting. It just took a little bit longer, but it did. It's not like they got it and stayed on top of the game or anything like that. They got it, but it was like at the same situation, they kind of lost a lot, because they went from having incredible sales success with the Xbox 360 to having mediocre sales, and then even less. They kind of fell off the map with the Xbox Series X and S. Not that those are bad games or anything, whatever the case may be, but it's just one of those things where they kind of get caught up in the whole grand nature of video games in the general. But again, Yoshida was talking recently. He doesn't really work for Sony anymore, which I think a lot of us already knew that, whatever the case may be. And I think that that's something that obviously we all know, but he was talking about Xbox, and this is interesting because what he says is very interesting. He's talking about Microsoft's publishing strategy and says that's good, but he can't get around his head around the Game Pass price hike. He says he doesn't understand it. While former PlayStation boss Shohei Yoshida is full of praise for Microsoft's call to put Xbox's best and brightest on the PlayStation Store, the decision to raise the price of Xbox Game Pass is something he doesn't understand. Microsoft recently announced a price hike for Game Pass, with the highest tier going from $20 a month to $30 as part of a broader reevaluation of the service, and it hasn't gone down well, with even former video game executives questioning the choice. Even an Xbox co-founder, Mike Ibarra, called it a betrayal, that was Ms. Fry, in a longer commentary of the state of Microsoft. Now Yoshida has added his name to the detractors, despite enjoying the overall approach from Xbox at the time being. He goes, and I quote, "It looks like they all shifted their strategy to PC, and that's great. That makes sense. They have a Windows system as well, and then they have gone multi-platform, right? Microsoft is the biggest publisher on PlayStation platform, I think. And according to data, Microsoft is the largest purveyor of pre-orders and early installs in the PlayStation stores for the first few months of 2025, an impressive feat considering they were rivals at one point." He said, and I quote, "They have really invested in Game Pass. I don't understand why they have raised the price of Game Pass so much. They have totally gone their own way in terms of platform strategy." So his bemusement reflects general sentiment. The announcement spurred a surge in cancellation, and it's remained a topic of discussion. Only time will tell if it kind of hurts it or not. But the interesting part is that when you look at this and you kind of look at how things are going with Xbox and with PlayStation in general, nobody can deny that there's been a huge shift from Microsoft, right? And here's the thing: as far as I could tell, right? Like Xbox fans, we used to get wins, and I'm not talking about like NPD wins or whatever, but it was like, you'd get the exclusive game, or you'd get like a piece of powerful hardware. Like there was reasons to kind of celebrate being an Xbox fan, and now it's like, it's weird because you see, I guess these are Xbox fans, and they're like, yeah, like they're, Ninja Gaiden, it's reviewing well. That's a big win for Xbox, but like I don't see how that's a big win for Xbox. I mean, Ninja Gaiden reviewing well, in my opinion, could have been a big win for Xbox had it been exclusive, because that's a game that is actually kind of known for being part of Xbox, right? Like I know people don't understand that, but the Ninja Gaiden Black on original Xbox, that was like taking advantage of the power, and so and so that's something that I feel like, us as fans have to kind of look at and go, okay, well, why are people kind of celebrating that, or why are they not celebrating it? Listen, I'm not really sure, but for me anyway, to have somebody go, okay, and he's basically saying they've gone PC now. You know what I mean? And I think that is like something that like people don't understand, because Microsoft does go out there and they go, oh, well, they've gone PC, or that's just part of part of the situation, of the new way of Microsoft, right? Because they have Windows. But if you look at like the reviews of the ROG Ally and stuff, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but all of them are like, yeah, Windows is clunky, it's this, it's that, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like they don't understand why people are, don't like to do like the whole PC thing. And like I always point to that, I'm like, just look at like I was looking at like the Windows Central review of that, right? And it's interesting because when you look at it, it's like, yeah, well, we advise you, install VRAM, do this, do that. And to me, it was like that's the perfect reason why I want nothing to do with like PC gaming, because it's like, oh, well, you have to install this, you have to do that. It's like all this crazy crap that you don't really want to do, you know what I'm saying? And so that, I think, is like the big issue, as far as I can tell, so we'll see what happens, and maybe one of these days we'll get something from Microsoft that actually makes some sense, because again, it's like I don't know what Xbox could have been, right? Like it's hard saying what Xbox could have been. I don't know, I'm not a prognosticator, but I think it could have been much better off if you had a situation where they actually had some exclusive games and things like that. And I think that's the point that I'm missing. Imagine a world where Microsoft had Ninja Gaiden, this year's exclusive Doom. Like that Doom was a miss in my opinion. But imagine a world where they did have, a Doom game exclusive, and Outer Worlds 2 exclusives, and all these games exclusive. And it would really make people kind of perk up and understand that, hey, Xbox is a viable platform for a lot of these things, and maybe we should get one. Because before anybody says anything else, like this worked for PlayStation. People were ignoring the PlayStation 3, right? The PlayStation 3 wasn't doing good, and then you had so many great exclusive games come out from Sony that people had to go out and buy it. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people kind of miss out on, is that hey, there is a situation where we have these games that could push something. Again, we'll see how it works out in the long run. Maybe people, like, it's hard to get excited about it. Like I can get excited about gaming, I can get excited about a lot of things, but getting excited about Xbox as a platform anymore is, tougher and tougher. I don't see that could be, something that could happen at any rate. So that's, I just got to be honest about it. So hopefully we see something in the future that makes it worthwhile, but again, we never really know. Microsoft can change direction at the drop of a hat, and they probably will. So, we'll have to wait and see if that's something that Microsoft can kind of get their heads wrapped around, and maybe that's something that they can work out. Again, I don't really know if they will be able to kind of change people's minds, but I'm hopeful that that's something that they'll be able to do, and that's what I'm kind of holding out. my personal hope for anyway. It's like you got to have something to differentiate your platform, right? All these people, Yoshida, the former lady who worked on the original Xbox, Mikey Barra, all these people can't be wrong, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't just put your head in the sand and be like, oh, well, those people are all wrong, because that really doesn't make sense. Xbox is kind of in a weird place, and I don't want to see it go away. We need that competition. Let me know what you guys think. Rack 'em up. Crab Gamer out.